Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today I'm saying mea culpa, baby, because I'm looking at Scream 3, which has maybe become my favorite Scream sequel. I'm so glad I get to recount this. When I covered the Scream franchise as a snarky 28-year-old, I shat all over this stupid movie. Unlike the first two, though, this movie is not very good. I can't with this, for real. God damn it, this movie is dumb. And that's Scream 3. I'd consider it the embarrassing third child of the Scream franchise, a child so trapped in the shadow of its older siblings that it can't help but just suck a whole lot. Ah, how cynical I was. As a wizened 33-year-old, I'd fully come around on the utter comedy that is Scream 3. I guess I'm like David Arquette in a way.
Sometimes I watch Scream 3 and I'm like, God, I don't like it. And sometimes I watch it and I was like, oh, that's really kind of interesting.
Maybe it's because I'm more familiar with filmmaking, so the on-set action is interesting to me. Los Angeles also feels like more of a home at this point, and I like seeing a bunch of familiar places. But the Hollywood setting is the perfect escalation of Scream's ever-evolving meta-ness. In the horror franchise that's always been about horror movies themselves, this third installment shows us how one gets made. Does that mean we need a Jay and Silent Bob cameo? No, that's dumb as hell. But Scream 3 is fine with being dumb as hell. That's not to say I've accepted everything about it. I will always despise the magical voice changer that can match anyone's voice perfectly.
Dewey's got our voices.
The ghastly kill is also still bad, and the ghost face reveal is pretty fucking lame. Worst of all is how much Sidney Prescott is sidelined, being isolated for the first 45 minutes and having hardly any scenes with Dewey or Gale. I think the movie's themes have aged well though, with commentary about sexual predators in Hollywood. You know, like the guy who owned Dimension, Harvey Weinstein. And then there's Parker Posey, whose performance is probably enough on its own to make Scream 3 my favorite sequel. I can't believe I'm saying it, man, but at least right now, I love Scream 3. My opinion may have changed, but did the kills? What? No, of course they didn't. But let's get to them anyway. The movie begins in Hollywood. Ooh, looks like the bowl's letting out. Cotton Weary has found the fame and fortune he's always dreamed of as host of a daytime talk show. He gets a flirty phone call from a female fan who quickly starts threatening his girlfriend Christine.
I'm right outside her bathroom door.
Yeah, he is. Ghostface giving us the closest thing to nudity in any Scream movie. Cotton races through LA to save his partner like a reverse O.J. Simpson. But even drifting top speed around Hollywood and Vine, there's no way this dude is getting through traffic in time. Guess Christine's stuck listening to the Creed that just started blaring. But at least it's What If, which is maybe the least bad Creed song. And it featured my main man Dewey in the music video. Alright. Ghostface jumps out for an attack / indulgence in his foot fetish, and when Christine locks him out, he apologizes.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean to scare you that bad. It's me.
Yep, and a perfect replication of Cotton's voice, even in person, even when he's yelling.
Talking about how much fun it's gonna be to rip your insides out. Now open the fucking door, Christine!
God damn it. Actual 100% Cotton shows up in the Cotton, and after breaking into the office, Christine attacks him with a club. Nice shining nod as he says, "Give me the club."
Give me the club.
Give me the bat.
She putters up and knocks Cotton down before taking a stab in the back from the bogeyman. It'll take more than a paint job to fix this, Christine. Ghostface and Mr. Tired get into a fight, but Ghostface flings his ass across the room and gets him down on the ground. Cotton Weary unfortunately exits the franchise with a couple of knife stabs off screen. Sidney Prescott now lives in the mountains near Monterey in Northern California. She and her good boy Cherokee keep themselves safe with many a security system. But despite her personal trauma, Sid puts herself and her bubble mac to good use, working as a phone counselor at a women's crisis center. Sidney's the fucking best, you guys. She stays in contact with her dad, played by a returning Lawrence Hecht from Scream 1. He laments Sid's isolation, saying it's like she doesn't exist anymore.
That's the idea. Psychos can't kill what they can't find.
As always, Nev Campbell understands the assignment. This Sidney Prescott is broken in more ways than one. Explains why she's having nightmares about her mom. Ghost Mama Maureen is actually pretty creepy, walking around spiking the camera and shit. Maureen Prescott's murder was the unseen spark that set off this entire series. Come to think of it, she's basically the Lyanna Stark of Scream. Now she's back in the picture, literally. A photo of her was found at Cotton's murder site. LA detective Mark Kincaid brings the picture to Gale Weathers and asks her for help. She loves shit like this, so she agrees to put a pause on talking to college students and cutting her own hair apparently. Gale's bangs in this movie are infamously bad. And turns out, David Arquette suggested Courtney Cox cut them like that to look like Betty Page. Didn't work. Nick Cave and his red right hand give us a visitor's pass to a studio lot, the fictional Sunrise Studios, played by CBS Radford in Studio City. Chelsea worked there for a little while as a PA on Friends with Better Lives. At Sunrise, they're filming Stab 3, Return to Woodsboro, with a soundstage dressed for locations from the first film. We saw Stab 1 in the last movie, which portrayed various scenes from the original Scream. I guess we have to assume Stab 2 was about the Windsor College murders in Ohio, and that Stab 3 is going to be an original story that takes place back in Woodsboro. Stab 3's director is Roman Bridger, who's introduced with his back to the camera. Great way to meet an important character. He and Stab's producer John Milton are upset because the studio doesn't want to make this movie in light of the murders.
Violence in cinema is a big deal right now, Roman.
A rich line coming from Roger Corman, the hugely influential filmmaker whose tastes were often, questionable.
By mistake, he actually made a good picture every once in a while.
Early on, he directed A Bucket of Blood, which we've covered on this show. The Real Life studio had similar concerns as these, with most of Scream 3's violence cut down in response to Columbine. You know, back when school shootings were still shocking. The studio actually demanded the removal of all blood before director Wes Craven intervened. The cast of the movie is also concerned about the production's future. There's Tyson Fox, who plays a Randy Meeks ripoff, and Sarah Darling, who plays a character called Candy. There's also Tom Prince, playing Dewey, replacing the previously mentioned David Schwimmer, and Angelina Tyler, playing Sidney Prescott, taking over for Tori Spelling, who played Sid in Stabs 1 and 2. This whole premise sets up layers and layers of meta-ness.
We are not in any danger.
We are not in any danger, says Candy, page 15.
Gail shows up on set with her latest loud outfit and her patented secret spy cam. She runs into Dewey, who's a technical advisor for the film, and who's still hurting from another in-between movie breakup.
Surprise, surprise. Someone dies and Gail comes running.
Dewey's done some recasting of his own, having gotten close with Jennifer Jolie. She plays Gail Weathers and has since the first Stab, and right now she's wearing Gail's outfit from Scream 1. Gail is kicked off set by producer Milton, and Dewey couldn't care less about her.
Great seeing you.
Or could he? Dun dun dun. This is when we get that Jay and Silent Bob cameo, as well as a Wes Craven cameo. He's on the same tour as them. Kevin Smith would repay the favor the following year when he had Craven cameo in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
The market research says people love monkeys.
Sarah arrives on the lot after hours to meet with Roman and, give herself a breast exam? Maybe leave stuff like that to the health experts, Jen. She gets a call from the director's voice, but it quickly changes to ghost faces.
Sarah gets skewered like a fucking pig.
She hides in a back room that's full of props and costumes, but turns out one of the faux faces is an honest-to-God ghost face, and Sarah's weapons against him are two Trick or Treat studios to work. He kills Sarah by shoving her through a glass window and giving her a stab in the back. Another picture of Maureen Prescott is found at the crime scene, which Detective Kincaid shares with Gail, much to the chagrin of his partner Wallace. I've always loved Wallace, the dry little bastard.
There's no reason to presume that Cotton's death had anything to do with this movie, is there?
He was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed.
At a cafe, Dewey catches up with Gail, who left him behind in Woodsboro after she got tired of being a small-town girl. In reality, David Arquette and Courtney Cox had just gotten married, less than a month before production began. Not only did they meet and start dating on Scream 1, but both of them said Craven championed their relationship from the start.
He was also really instrumental in David and I getting married.
They wound up getting divorced in 2012 for largely the same reasons. Their characters aren't together here.
It didn't work, Dewey. We tried. We're different.
He used to say that was our strength.
Aw, I'm glad they still remain friends and co-parents to their daughter today. Dewey is summoned to Jennifer's home in the Hollywood Hills. Nice view. Can't be fun getting groceries though. The pseudo-Gail is freaking out about Sarah Darling's murder, since after Cotton's, it creates a pattern.
Someone's killing them in the order they die in the movie.
Only thing is, there were 3 different versions of the script to prevent the ending leaking, so they don't know who the next target will be. This mirrors what happened in real life with both Scream 2 and Scream 3. Kevin Williamson had written Screams 1 and 2, but was a little busy when it came time for the threequel. He was still running Dawson's Creek, his script for The Faculty was being made, he was helping with rewrites on Halloween H2O, and he was busy with Teaching Mrs. Tingle, the one and only film he directed. He had written a treatment for Scream 3, but most of it was scrapped, including the plot that would see Stu Macher return. They even went as far as hiring Matthew Lillard.
I actually was paid to be in Scream 3, and never had a chance to fulfill it.
Williamson's outline involves Stu Macher orchestrating high school killers from prison, and in the wake of Columbine, no one wanted to make a movie about killer teens. Aaron Kruger was hired to write a new screenplay, even though he wasn't familiar with the first two films. Kruger, no relation to Fred, wrote under a tight deadline and finished pages right before they were filmed. Wes Craven also had to do rewrites, and just like with Scream 2, they'd sometimes happen on the same day they were shot. Add in the secrecy over the script, and the poor actors had a hard time memorizing their lines.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore, Wes.
This was also referenced in the movie itself.
Has there been another goddamn rewrite? How the fuck are we supposed to learn our lines when there's a new script every 15 minutes?
Production officially shuts down between Sarah's murder and Roman being accused of it. The cast holds a wake at Jennifer's house to mourn the deaths of their jobs. Gal snoops around for the inside edition, but she's pinched by Jennifer's bodyguard, Stephen Stone. You can't ask for a better bodyguard than Patrick Warburton. Just ask Doc Venture, who's somehow still alive. He's a big strong boy. Gal has a sidebar with Dewey, where she shows him the photos of Maureen. He recognizes the background from one of Jennifer's headshots. Is it dumb that they have the exact same positioning and framing? Yes it is. But it tells them that Sidney's mother must have spent time at Sunset Studios in the past. Outside Jennifer's house, Stone pokes around Dewey's little tin can trailer. Ghostface jumps out and stabs him in the back, though it takes some effort to drive the point home. Stone jumps out of the fire and into the frying pan, but somehow gets away and survives long enough to make it to the front door. Guess he just wanted everyone to see him die. Show off. A power outage scares everyone outside, but they return when a fax machine starts printing script pages describing their current actions. The screenplay says Ghostface plans on sparing one of them, but who? Who? Well, Tom just has to know, so he runs back inside to read the ending. When it's too dark to make out the words, he doesn't use the flashlight they just had a minute ago, or come outside and read by moonlight. He uses a lighter, and the flame waits long enough for him to read about leaking gas before igniting it, blowing up Tom and this whole goddamn house. Holy shit, I love a good house explosion. This one was done with a quarter-scale model of the actual home they filmed at, which is known as Runyon Ranch, and can be rented for film shoots and parties. Dewey's trailer is even a part of it. Cool. The incineration sends the others hot rodding down the hillside. I loved getting to see the stunt performers do this in behind-the-scenes footage. Gal tumbles furthest, all the way to the street, and when a ghost face appears, Dewey successfully shoots them away. Then they disappear, as per usual. Oh well, at least Gal and Dewey start to make up, which Jennifer doesn't like, which in turn Gal doesn't like. Damn, Gal really doesn't like Jennifer. A third picture of Maureen is found, along with a note taking credit for her murder, even though Billy and Stu said they killed her in the first movie. With all these Maureen mysteries afoot, Kincaid wants to talk to Sidney, but Dewey won't dox her, no matter how weird Kincaid gets with his line deliveries.
Where is she?
Calm down, creep, she's right here, okay? The killer called her earlier to catch up, so she's come to LA to go on the offensive. She's also wearing an outfit similar to the one she had on in Scream 2, symbolizing that she hasn't yet been able to move on from her past. She's even wearing the Greek letters Derek gave her in Scream 2. Sid has a warm reunion with Dewey and a slightly cooler reunion with Gal, but hey, at least she's not alone anymore. Her storyline is so separate for most of the movie because of Neve Campbell's availability. She could only shoot for 3 weeks of the 9-week production and had to wear a wig that took 2 hours to apply, since she was also filming Drowning Mona at the same time, and her character in that movie had much longer hair. Kincaid is enchanted to meet Sid, but she's too focused on these old pictures of her mom. They head to where they were taken, Sunrise Studios, where all of a sudden, Martha Meeks appears. She's Randy's little sister, and played by a 16-year-old Heather Matarazzo. She's here with a posthumous tape made by Randy, allowing Jamie Kennedy to return for the third film. A lot of fans were upset about Randy's death.
To this day, that's one of like the top 2 things people ask me in my life. You know, it's like, why did you get killed in Scream 2?
They briefly considered revealing that Randy had survived his news van stabbing, but that really wouldn't have worked. They settled on this tape and lampshading the complaint.
Probably some psycho fan pissed off they killed Randy and stabbed too.
Randy's here to do what he always does, give them rules for a horror movie, specifically when it comes to the conclusion of a trilogy.
True trilogies are all about going back to the beginning.
Thus all the Mama Prescott stuff. Gal splits off to do some investigating alone, but is joined by Jennifer against her will. This is one of the greatest pair-ups in studio lot history. I love the way these two play off each other. And shit, they run into Carrie Fisher. Or, I'm sorry, Bianca Burnett.
But you look just
like her. I was up for Princess Leia. I was this close. So who gets it? The one who sleeps with George Lucas.
Rest in peace, Carrie. You weren't a princess, you were a queen. The studio archives reveal that Maureen Prescott Nie Roberts came to Hollywood 25 years ago and acted under the stage name Rena Reynolds, named after the late Debbie Reynolds, who was, of course, Carrie Fisher's mom. The publicity stills of Rena Reynolds we see were early modeling photos of a young Lynn McCree, whose picture was used for Maureen Prescott in the original Scream. It's so cool that they had McCree return and actually play Maureen in Scream 3. She couldn't have expected that when her picture was used for the first film. The gals learned that Maureen's acting career stalled out after a few cheap horror films. They were all made by John Milton, the current producer of Stab. Sidney stumbles upon the Stab 3 set, finding recreations of her home from the first movie and Stu Macher's farmhouse. This scene wasn't in the script, but Craven had the idea to build these sets and then write some scenes around them.
And over here would be Sidney's house.
I'm glad he did. It really drives home how Scream 3 comes full circle to the first film. Sid goes up to her fake room, which is not only a hot set, but also a haunted set. It's got a ghost face! They have a classic Scream chase scene, which sees them running upstairs again. I love when Sid pushes a fucking equipment cart on him. The great chase ends with her throwing him onto a mattress down below, but since she doesn't elbow drop him, the bastard gets away, and maybe pretends to be her dead mom underneath a crime scene blanket?
Give mommy a kiss and we'll make up.
Man, Scream 3, you weird sometimes. Kincaid comes to the rescue and gets all McDreamy in the police station. He's played by Patrick Dempsey, who was hired a day before shooting began. He tries to connect with Sid over the ghost stuff, saying his job has also left him haunted.
Ghosts are tough. You can't shoot ghosts.
Can't arrest ghosts.
Can't fuck ghosts. Oh wait, Scary Movie 2. Oh, and The Entity. Back on the lot, Dewey's hoping nobody calls him a piece of shit.
Hey, Do.
Rude. Armed with their IMDb trivia, Dewey and the gals go to confront John Milton, who's currently trying to calm down Roman Bridger since he doesn't have a movie to direct anymore. Milton is played by Lance Henriksen, who was in Aliens, Alien 3, Pumpkinhead, and oh, what's that behind you, Lance? Ah, yeah, Terminator. Milton claims Rena Reynolds was a nobody, but Jennifer channels her inner gal and points out that he's produced 3 movies about her murder.
You're obsessed with her, and you're obsessed with her daughter!
All right, easy, Geraldo.
He finally admits that he knew Rena and says she fell victim to sex and drugs at his Hollywood parties.
Nothing happened to her that she didn't invite in one way or another, no matter what she said afterwards.
It's amazing to me that Scream 3 has a rapey producer character when the movie itself had a rapey producer. I'm shocked the Weinsteins let that fly. Dewey gets a call from Sidney, supposedly, saying she's going to John Milton's house. He's hosting a birthday party for Roman, which is looking like one pretty fucking downer of a time. The old Hollywood home is a cool setting though. It's the perfect place to go exploring.
There's a psycho killer on the loose, and you want to go traipsing around this gigantic mansion? Have you ever actually seen the Stab movies? Every time this dude enters a room, he ends up a goddamn shish kebab.
The Stabbies, which I'll call them, leave.
We'll be right back.
And then they split up and disappear and shit. You know how it goes. Dewey and Gale find a phone and that stupid voice changer thing.
Dewey's got our voices.
This technology was nowhere near this level in 2000. Hell, even as recently as 2018, you could tell when a voice was being digitally fabricated.
This is fake Donald Trump talking.
The United States is considering, in addition to other options, stopping all trade with any country doing business with North Korea.
I just find it way too far-fetched for the mostly realistic Scream series. Gale splits off to find the Stabby gang, but instead discovers Roman's corpse in a casket. She checks his pulse to make sure he's dead. Then bumps into a jumpy Jennifer Jolie. The gaggle of gals run into an Auntie Angelina, who promptly flees when warned of the danger. She's sick of this Hollywood lifestyle.
I did not fuck that pig Milton to get a leading role just to die here with second-rate celebrities like you two!
Wow, she really got that Sidney rundown though. Flappy arms and everything. In earlier drafts of the script, Angelina was revealed to be one of the killers. She was going to be an old classmate of Sidney's who became obsessed with her subsequent fame. Character traits later briefly touched on in Scream 4. The ending was changed for various reasons, and Angelina instead became another victim, killed by a stab to the chest. The other ladies Disney Channel their heads over the railing and see her body get dragged away. Another chase sees Dewey get punched in the face. Oh, fucking twice. And more vase breakage. Classic Scream. They always breaking vases, man. Tyson gets stabbed and chased by the face.
Oh, you motherfucker!
But can't outrun the rug getting pulled out from beneath him. By God! Tyson's probably dead at this point, but for good measure, Ghostface tosses him out of a window. Jennifer is the next to be targeted and winds up on the other side of some two-way mirrors overlooking a bedroom. Gross implications there. Dewey's unable to shoot out the mirrors in time to save her, so Jennifer is killed from getting stabbed to death by Ghostface. Aw man, I'm real sad she's done in the movie. Ghostface is hella efficient here, cause he's already grabbing Gale and tumbling with her down the stairs. Dewey tries to do a rescue, but his gun is empty, so Ghostface takes him out with a knife handle to the head. That's fine, but man, I hate how Gale crawls to him and basically surrenders herself to Ghostface. Sidney finds her file at the police station and is all like, obsessed much, Kincaid? She gets a call from Ghostface, who says he's holding Dewey and Gale hostage, so she grabs a gun and heads out to save her friends she's hardly seen. She gets to Milton's mansion, where Tyson's poor body is still laying in a poolside blood pool. This 22,000 square foot complex is played by the Paramore Estate in Silver Lake. It was also used as the private school in Halloween H2O. The pool was covered so it could be used as a courtyard, but you can totally see the balcony that Tyson was thrown off back there. Ghostface calls Sidney and makes her use a metal detector, revealing there's a gun in her boot. Yeah, throw that shit away, Sid. Kersplash. As soon as she gets to Dewey and Gale, Ghostface backhands Sid to the floor. She came prepared though, with the other gun we saw her keeping at her home earlier. She uses it to shoot the mother down. Yeah! Oh no, he gone. Kincaid is suddenly here, which is kinda sus, my man, but he proves he's a good guy when he intercepts a Ghostface attack. Ghostface beats him down, then goes after Sid, his fucking clumsy ass. He chases her through a secret bookcase door that leads into John Milton's hidden screening room. Ghostface appears in that Ghost Mom body bag and shows how they survived the gunshots with a bulletproof vest. The tactical Ghostface is revealed to be, wait. Who are you?
Roman Bridger, director.
Oh, yeah, that's Roman. The guy introduced with his back to the camera and who wore glasses in every other scene. He's the killer.
And brother.
And brother. Well, half-brother. When she was going by Rena Reynolds, Maureen Prescott was raped right here in John Milton's manor. Roman was born of that rape. And if you think that's bad, things could have been worse. In the original script, where Angelina was the second killer, Roman was sleeping with her to fulfill an incest fantasy. Okay, Angelina would have helped set up Roman's fake-out death, but whether he had help or not, Gale checked his goddamn pulse. I know Craven himself said there are ways to slow a pulse down, but maybe just don't include that moment. It makes Gale look dumb. Of course, this reveal sucks in plenty of other ways too, like how Sidney has no idea who this guy is. She's never met him before. They've never even been in the same scene until now. Roman says he tracked down his mom a few years ago, but Maureen shut him out and turned him away. So he, let's get this straight, filmed her going around town, sleeping with men like Cotton Weary and Billy Loomis's werewolf-looking dad. He then showed that footage to Billy and used it to make him and Stu murder Maureen. So those two yahoos did do the act itself, but Roman, well...
I'm a director, Sid. I direct.
He directs. This ending, including Roman being Sidney's brother, was purportedly written by an uncredited Lita Kalogridis, who would later go on to write Shutter Island and executive produce Avatar. Holy shit. She was hired by Bob Weinstein after he fired Aaron Kruger. But don't feel bad for Kruger, he'd go on to write The Ring and co-write Top Gun freaking Maverick. Roman has John Milton tied up, probably the best thing he's ever done. Thanks to the voice changer, he has a tape of Sidney's voice saying she's going to kill Milton for what he did to her mom. In reality, Roman kills the predatory producer with a quick and simple throat slit. I like that Scream 3 was tackling the casting couch problem long before the mainstream Me Too movement. Between Maureen, Carrie Fisher's character, and Angelina, there's a lot of calling out gross dudes in power exploiting young women. As for Roman, he's not a rapist, he's just a whiny little bitch. I love how Sidney's totally over shit like this by now.
God, why don't you stop your whining and get on with it? I've heard this shit before.
Stop! Aw, baby poopy pants. They get into a fight that includes yet another vase being broken. Oh, and a little table attack. Sidney really scraps in this one, man. She gets beat up more than ever before, I'm pretty sure. Almost as much as that book beats up Courtney Cox's face as Gale and Dewey try to get through the secret door. Dewey trips the power right as Roman chokes out Sid. Kincaid also shows up to help, but gets bogotted with a chair. The humanity! Roman takes Kincaid's gun and shoots Sidney Prescott? Oh my god, dude, you can't shoot Sidney Prescott. Stop! Thankfully, the shooting doesn't kill her, because she disappears like a ghost face when Roman isn't looking. She gets the jump on him with an ice pick to the back. Once again, that was a real honest-to-God scream. Campbell missed Scott Foley's protective padding and actually stabbed him with the prop ice pick. Sidney reveals her best game strong too, as Roman bleeds out on the floor.
I still got to make my movie.
I still got to make my movie. Ugh, thank you, Sid. I always forget how bad of a ghost face Roman is, but real talk, he's pretty damn bad. Don't hold his hand, Sid. He doesn't deserve that. Since this is Scream, the killer pops up for one last scare. But Dewey fills him full of lead and ultimately kills him with a headshot. And that's how the Roman Empire fell. Great stunt fall there by Brian Avery, Scott Foley's stunt double, and also the movie's Ghostface performer. It's a new dawn at Sidney's home, where Dewey gets Gal a present. It's a ring and a book. She says yes with a kiss. It's nice. And Sidney returns home with her good boy Cherokee. Since her past has been put to rest, she leaves her gate open and her security system unarmed. Speaking of unarmed, Kincaid's here too, ready to watch a movie with a big bowl of popcorn. The original trilogy ends with Sidney leaving her door wide open, having finally found a little bit of peace. How many characters had their parts permanently cut?
Let's find out and get to the numbers.
Ooh, a Chelsea voice. 10 people died in Scream 3, same number I counted 6 years ago, because that makes sense. The victims included 4 ladies and 6 guys, giving us the same sequel pie chart we had for Scream 2. Also levels off the kills for the franchise, for now. With a runtime of 116 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 11.6 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Tyson Fox. Most of these kills are pretty tame, but Tyson's got that spine-bending backflip. Hope his stunt performer got a bonus that day. Dog machete for lamest kill will go to Cotton Weary. Look at how buff Liev Schreiber is. I don't buy that Roman Bridger took him down. 100% bullshit is more like it. And that's it. Scream 3 was supposed to come out in December 1999, but they reshot the opening scene a bunch of times for various reasons, which pushed the release to February 2000. When they wrapped production, everyone was adamant it'd be the last one.
There's not going to be any more after this.
We don't want there to be a Scream 4 and 5 and 6.
Well, too bad, motherfuckers, because 11 years later, we got ourselves a Scream 4. I'll look at that next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count recount on Scream 3, where I correct the errors of my past. Yeah, the last time we watched through the Scream series, it was with a bunch of people who had never seen the movies before, and Scream 3 was a fucking hit. It's just so silly and funny. Like, Scream 2 takes itself so seriously, and Scream 3 is like, fuck it, man, we'll get goofy. Again, it's kinda dumb, but at this point in life, I can appreciate kinda dumb. Oh, actually, we're gonna have an episode before Scream 4. Yeah, on Sunday, we got a special bonus Kill Count for you. In honor of President's Day, I'm covering The Tripper from 2006. It's a silly slasher comedy directed by David Arquette. Check it out, it'll be a fun one. I want to thank some patrons like Franco Minoldo, Fancy DeBox, Emily, Ellen Mad Smith, Dylan Hannigan, Dr. Brown Bro, Colton Williams, Blank Lit, and Brilliant Super. Thanks everyone, be good people.